Imagine being on a turbulent flight, anxiety gripping every passenger, when a simple act of kindness transforms the entire journey. What would you do if faced with such a situation? How far can a single gesture go in changing lives? Welcome to Timeless Stories, where we explore narratives that touch the soul and inspire action. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel to stay connected with stories that matter. On a bustling morning at the international airport, passengers hurried through security, eager to reach their destinations. The terminal hummed with conversations, rolling suitcases, and the intermittent crackle of overhead announcements. Among the travelers was Keanu Reeves, the renowned actor known for his humility and generosity. Dressed casually in jeans and a hoodie, he blended into the crowd, unnoticed by most, quietly making his way toward his gate. Keanu had been traveling frequently, working on various projects, but today's flight was just another routine journey, until fate intervened. As Keanu settled into his first-class seat, he glanced out the window, watching as the ground crew made their final preparations. He reached for the in-flight menu, contemplating his meal options, when a murmur spread through the cabin. Passengers in first class began turning their heads toward the entrance, whispering excitedly. Keanu followed their gaze and saw an unmistakable figure, Clint Eastwood. Despite his years, Clint still carried himself with the presence of a man who had seen and conquered many battles, both on and off the screen. His weathered face bore the wisdom of decades, his eyes sharp yet kind. But something was different. There was a subtle weariness in his step, a quiet exhaustion that only a few could recognize. As Clint reached his seat, a flight attendant approached, her expression apologetic. "Mr. Eastwood, I'm terribly sorry, but there's been a mix-up. First class is fully booked, and we don't have an available seat for you. The only open seat is in economy." A hushed silence fell over the cabin. First class? Overbooked? For Clint Eastwood? Keanu watched the scene unfold, his heart tightening at the sight of the legendary actor being told to move to the back of the plane. Without a second thought, he rose from his seat and walked over to Clint. "Mr. Eastwood," Keanu said, his voice steady but warm, "please take my seat, I insist." Clint looked up, his sharp eyes studying Keanu for a long moment. "You sure about this, kid?" Keanu nodded. "Absolutely, it's the least I can do." Passengers and flight attendants watched in awe as Keanu gathered his belongings and walked toward the economy cabin. He found a seat in the middle row, wedged between a young mother soothing a fussy baby and an elderly man engrossed in a crossword puzzle. The contrast between first class and economy was stark, but Keanu didn't seem to mind. He greeted his new seatmates with a friendly nod and settled in. Meanwhile, back in first class, Clint sat down, gripping the armrest for a moment before shaking his head with a soft chuckle. "Well, I'll be damned," he muttered under his breath. As the flight took off, the air was filled with the usual hum of engines and occasional chatter. Then about an hour into the journey, turbulence struck. The plane shuddered violently, drinks spilled, and overhead bins rattled ominously. Gasps filled the cabin as passengers clung to their seats. Keanu, now in economy, remained calm. He glanced at the young mother beside him, whose face had gone pale. "It's okay," he reassured her, offering a gentle smile. "Just a bit of rough air." In first class, Clint tightened his grip on the armrests. He had seen many storms in his life, both literal and metaphorical, but something about this moment felt different. He turned his head and spotted Keanu in the back, surrounded by nervous passengers. Despite the tension, Keanu appeared composed, offering comfort where he could. As the turbulence subsided, a sense of relief washed over the plane. Clint unbuckled his seatbelt and, to the surprise of everyone, made his way toward the economy section. "Mind if I join you for a bit?" Clint asked, standing beside Keanu's seat. Keanu blinked in surprise but quickly gestured to the empty seat beside him. "Of course not." Passengers watched in awe as the legendary filmmaker and the beloved actor sat side by side, engaged in quiet conversation. They spoke about life, about the choices they had made, about the power of simple gestures. "Why'd you give up your seat?" Clint asked after a moment. Keanu shrugged. "It felt like the right thing to do. You've given so much to people through your movies. I just wanted to give something back." Clint chuckled. "Never thought a seat could mean so much, huh?" Keanu smiled. It's not about the seat. It's about the gesture. The two men continued talking for the remainder of the flight, bridging the gap between generations, between fame and humility. Their conversation was one that would leave an indelible mark, not just on them, but on those around them. When the plane finally landed, passengers disembarked with a renewed sense of warmth. Word of Keanu's selfless act spread quickly. A flight attendant had shared the story online, and by the time Keanu and Clint reached baggage claim, their story was already trending. Clint turned to Keanu as they walked through the terminal. You ready for this? He asked, nodding toward the growing crowd of reporters. Keanu grinned. Not really, Clint chuckled. You'll be fine, kid. You've got something they can't teach. Heart. The following week, Clint reached out to Keanu with an idea. That moment on the plane, it stuck with me, he said. I think we should make a film about it. Not just about the flight, but about how small acts of kindness change lives. Keanu was intrigued. You think people would want to see that? Clint nodded. I think people need to see that. The result was a powerful film that touched hearts worldwide, sparking a movement encouraging people to perform random acts of kindness. Schools incorporated the film's message into their teachings, workplaces encouraged gestures of goodwill, and strangers began paying it forward in unexpected ways. One day, Keanu received a letter from a stranger who had been on that flight. I was on that plane the day you gave up your seat. I had lost my faith in people, but your act of kindness reminded me that goodness still exists. That moment inspired me to reach out to my estranged son, and we are now rebuilding our relationship. Thank you. Keanu read the letter several times, his heart full. He had never met this person, yet through one small act, he had changed their life. As he folded the letter and tucked it away, he realized something profound. Kindness is never wasted. It ripples outward, touching lives in ways we may never fully understand. If this story moved you, consider spreading kindness today. Like, share, and subscribe to Timeless Stories for more inspiring tales. Let's keep the ripple going.